All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday, February the 21st. The market's been closed for a little over an hour and a half now. I've been spending a little bit of time going through some earnings reports. Pandora released today, so we were very much interested in that one because we were positioned in the name, so we will take a look at that one here in just a second. It's a mixed bag of earnings. The stock was initially up in the after hours, so we'll take a look. It looks like it's pulling back a little bit as the after hours session went on. But my initial check there, it was up about 10%, 9.5% to about $5.50. So we'll take a look at that one here in just a second. The S&P, though, I did want to pull this one up here, of course, to start with, and so just kind of show you what happened today. So, like I say, we had been kind of watching the 6.8 or 618 level here to sell against, and so we had been selling into that the past couple of days, or we should have been, anyways. And now the markets today ended up pulling back after FOMC minutes came out, which is the Federal Open Market Committee, and that's when the Federal Reserve talks about what they think they need to do or what the next step is in the interest rate cycle. So today they released their minutes from the January meeting, and that was it pretty much said that market economic picture continues to improve and inflation looks to be returning. So that's kind of a second nod to inflation versus that report that caused the dive to start in the whole first place. So here on the S&P 500, if you take a look on the little bit closer time frame, and this is a 10-day chart here, we talked about the other day, we had our sell signal up here, but we had not taken out this swing low, so we were kind of waiting to see. But the fact that moving average stayed rolled over like it did and ended up setting a new low, then we had taking out of the swing. So this was our confirmation right here to sell into this next pop to the upside. We got a buy signal this morning right out of the gate, and the market's actually opened up a little bit higher and actually trended up. It looked like they were going to have a pretty decent day until this spike right here. That was actually, and we'll look at it a little bit closer time frame. That was actually when those minutes released today. Let's see. Yeah, so this is a intraday chart, so this is looking at just today. So like I say, we opened up and had a nice little push higher pretty much for the most part of the morning. And then when we got to this hour right here, which was the 2 o'clock Eastern hour, that's when those minutes came out. So you see that we spiked to the upside before we ultimately kind of just rolled over here and started going back down. And once the sellers got in charge up here and we started taking out some of these previous swing lows here, with this one right here, then that was whenever the queue was open that we could just dive. So we dove into the night, or into the pretty much into the night, or into the evening anyways. So that by the time the markets closed, the markets had gave back all of their gains for the day, and we'll pull up a quote here, and I think it was actually closed down about 0.5%. Yeah, so about 15 points to the downside, 27.01. Important to note that 27.01 close is below these two Fibonacci levels that we've been watching, and I put these back on there just since we decided to turn back lower. This one right here is at 27.0278 or 27.03. This one's at 27.02, and we closed today at 27.01. So, we obviously gave back or got back underneath the 50-day moving average, which is this yellow line right here, at 27.28. So we're pretty much underneath all of these important levels of resistance that we're kind of been talking about. So moving average is starting to roll back over now. So like I said, I think this thing must continue to the downside. And I think that 25.50 or that moving average, 200-day moving average, or these lows or even lower is entirely possible. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how it goes. But like I say, the swiftness that these things rolled over today in this intraday chart, like I say, this is kind of a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. And it looks like that once we kind of tested this high of the day up here and we came back for a third go at it, it looked like we were going to break out there for just a second, but quickly, like I say, it just reversed course, and once the trend started going to the downside, it just really gained steam. And actually you can see, and I'll show you down here, the momentum and the volume just continued to pick up all the way into the close. So pretty much this last hour of trading, just non-stop escalation of volume right there to the downside. So that's obviously a troubling sign. So I think that with the markets acting like they are, like I said, we had been talking about, cutting out some of our long positions and even shorting the market some. So we have been doing that. I do have some hedges in place in case the market were to rally back. But like I said, I think that this one's going to continue lower. And what I put on was a Boeing credit spread today from the bear side. That worked out pretty well, actually. I put that one on yesterday. So it actually has worked out pretty well. Pretty much betting that this stock does not make a new high by the end of the week, and so far it looks like it's dead on the money, and that's actually going to be a great trade if it hangs in there. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Of course, the volatility did spike as a result of the markets rolling over, and they actually, after dipping down, they sold off pretty hard this morning. Right out of the gate, and this kind of continued all day long to drift lower and lower and lower. Now, when this FOMC statement came out here, they really took a dive before they turned around and moved back to the upside, and they pretty much recovered all the day's losses. Now, they did end up closing slightly lower than they opened, but this is a very bullish looking recovery intraday here for the VIX, so that means that if the VIX is going to be headed higher, then the markets are going to be headed lower, and that's kind of the general way to think about that. So as you can see, we got our buy signal over here on the moving averages. We'll be swinging if we can take out this 21 high here, but the burden of proof here is now going to be on the bulls to prove that the markets don't need to go back to the downside. So I think that they just will continue lower. So I'm trying to get a few other things together. There was a lot of earnings reports that I was tracking today, so I'm trying to do my homework here and try to get up to date on some of these other numbers. Pandora, we want to take a look at that one real quick. So we've been in and out of this name several times, and I'll make that a little bigger here. We actually bought here, and we sold here, and we bought here, and sold up here. So I bought it back today. Probably at about $4.95, $4.94 is where the shares were trading at. So a few pennies to the above where I bought anyways is where I think I ended up buying right in this area through here. So pretty much as we entered that last hour, I went ahead and jumped back in those calls. And they end up selling off a little bit to the close. But if you see the extended hours, and we'll have to kind of see in the shares, like I say, this gray area here this is representing the extended hours trade, and that was extended hours this morning over here on this side. But as you can see, the shares pretty much as soon as the earnings report came out, the shares started getting some good buying interest down here, and they spiked up to 542, it looks like, or 543, somewhere in that area. And now I've given back some gains, and they're about 516 at the moment. So it looks like we'll have an update for Pandora tomorrow. But if this broader market is weak as it is right now, or is going to continue acting this week, I think we just need to sell into this, because I don't think that Pandora will be immune to a broader sell-off. So I'll be looking to take profits in Pandora as the trade has turned out to work perfectly well. So I just wanted to go ahead and give you an update on that one. That way you're not freaked out about Pandora. And if you're in that name, then like I say, I would be looking to sell into tomorrow's strength, because it looks like we'll spike open spike higher at the open. And then I'm sure that if the markets stay weak, then we'll just sell off all day long tomorrow. So probably get your best prices in the morning. All right, guys, y'all take it easy. I'll talk to you a little bit later when I get all these trades put together. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.